I'm Kier from In Defense Of, a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is it. The part of your week where you get to put your headphones on, relax, and listen to a bunch of geeks geek out about geeky things. They're passionate.
Did you know Magic Mike XXL is actually on the top 25 list of this year's best movie?
They're witty.
He loves him some Katy Perry because she kissed a girl and she liked it.
They're crazy.
I like Nickelback personally, but, I'm the fuddy-duddy who likes episode 1.
And sometimes they leave you wondering, what the f***?
I'm pretty sure that here we were starting the hashtag movement, Bring Back Slave Feral.
Welcome to the GonnaGeek.com podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 127 of the official GonnaGeek.com podcast. I'm Stephen Jondrew, and with me today is the full crew. We are back in action with the new year. I've got Stargate Pioneer with me today.
I had a white Christmas. How about you?
Nobody respond. Go ahead. That's fine. We can just awkwardly leave that silently being SP's silence. Silently being SP's silence.
That's my thoughts on Christmas. That's all.
We also have Chris Farrell. That's that voice right there.
Yeah, my Christmas was like 60 degrees and hot, so it was no fun.
Chris Farrell has a pretty epic library beard going there.
That's right. And that last voice is the one and only Jean-Sebastien. What's up, JS?
What's up? It was not a white Christmas here. There was still green grass outside, which is probably the first time in like 5 to 10 years here.
Well, I heard that you guys were having some great weather over there and that we were getting all the cold here.
It snowed for the first time 5 or 6 days ago, and it snowed a lot. I think we broke a record.
By the way, if you are checking out the video, we have done a bit of refreshing. There is still a few more tweaks to be had. We're just, as you actually start to do things properly, you discover some other quirks. So to the live audience, that's why we're a little bit late today. And our apologies on that.
Sorry, y'all.
But you will see that one of the nice things that we have is down below. Oh, see, now I'm doing this and it's not dirty. Is the chat. That's right. You can now follow along with what the chat room was saying when you are watching afterwards. There's one of the little quirks that we mentioned there, but we'll get that fixed soon enough. You can't be perfect the first time unless your name is Stargate Pioneer.
It's perfection all the time. Just smiling, just perfectness, and there's just no way around it. I'm perfect. In absolutely every way. Just like Mary Poppins.
You are.
And very modest.
Well, I mean, if you're perfect, why not announce it to everybody? I mean,
Exactly.
Why not?
No,
What's
I
the
agree.
downside?
I agree. Well, let's just go ahead and move into our news. Shall we do that?
Let's do it.
News. What's the news?
Porn. Sorry.
That's right. We are back with the porn bump. Chris loves to sing it. Loves to sing it all the time.
Oh, you all love to sing this bump. It's fantastic.
I don't. I don't care much for it.
I play it in my car with my podcast music mix.
I play it in the club.
Well, let's just have me start off with the news because let's be honest, I'm the most important person here on this podcast.
It's all about Steven. Me.
No. The reason why we're going to do that is because you'll see out also, if you're looking at the video side of things right over there, we actually have an order now that you'll be able to follow along and see a little bit of an idea of where we're going to head. So the first thing that we've got going on is to do with The Flash. Now, if you are a fan of The Flash television show on CW, first off, you should check out Crimson Comet on the Gonna Geek podcast or the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. But you may be a little familiar with someone named Robbie Amell, and no, JS, that is not Stephen Amell. That is not Stephen Amell. That is his cousin. Legitimately, it is
he's
his cousin.
underwhelmed.
I know. But Robbie Amell was part of Firestorm in season 1 of The Flash. And guess what? Apparently he is coming back. That's right. Entertainment Weekly put out an article today that he will be coming back, but from Earth 2 under Deathstorm. That may be why we have seen certain, shall we say, previews of a certain Caitlin Snow. Maybe that what we saw was from Earth 2, but I am very, very excited. I was sad to see his version of Firestorm go away. I liked it, but this is, I think, going to be really fun.
Did they actually introduced Earth 2 in that universe?
Yes.
They've introduced the whole multiverse in the Flash
How'd
right
they
now.
do that?
Through a lot of confusion.
Oh, I see. It's pretty
It was the
confusing
season
in comics. I just wanted to make sure how they do it on TV for people who don't actually live their life in the paper world or
digital world now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I know that JS, you don't follow this. However, Chris,
it's on my list. It's on my list.
I know
of
it's
stuff
on your
to
list.
watch.
I know, but currently you don't. So Chris and SB, what do you guys think of this? I'm really excited myself. Let's start with SB.
I like Robbie Amell, and I miss him from the show. I understand why he left for bigger, better opportunities, and it'll be fun having him back. Although everybody we're seeing from Earth 2 is radically different, which of course is what the premise is. But for once, I would like to see somebody that is lost in one of the universes and comes over to the other universe and is the same.
So it's just like the exact same person. There's no difference at all.
Yeah, just a replacement.
But it's the butterfly effect, right?
What
did you flap your wings?
Effect?
I don't know. I just thought that was a great movie with Ashton Kutcher. That's all.
The Kutch. It's a good movie with the Kutch.
Yes. First face palm of 2016 accomplished by this guy.
That was so stupid.
Well, I've done my part here, and I'm going to walk away.
That sounds like it could be a nice new video intro for me, too.
You guys like that intro, by the way?
I did like that intro. It's fancy.
Again, there was no sound, so I can't tell you.
JS, you're supposed to pretend because I know that you couldn't have heard it, but that's something that for perhaps another day we'll figure out. So
I do like episode 1. I do like episode 1, and that's Star Wars episode 1 we're talking about. Just to be clear, The Phantom Menace, I like it.
If it gets a re-edit where Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, I might change my opinion.
That's true. Yes, because
I think it happened.
I think that he's an amazing character, especially since he is, well, we'll get to that a little bit later, but that's all that I had for my news. Let's move on into the rocket scientist news. You'll see there on the little title bar, 4 elements added. Who could be bringing that?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder who that could be. Here's a hint. It's Stargate Pioneer.
Oh, man, you outed me right away. I was going to kid about Stargate Pioneer and what a bad guy he was. Anyway. So, yeah, I remember going to school, chemistry class, whatever, seeing these big holes in the bottom of the periodic table. Not anymore. It's completely filled up because we found 4 new elements and they have to be confirmed and all that. And they're undergoing working titles right now, like onuntrimium and onunpenium and onunceptium and onunoctium and onobtainium, of course. We all know that one. But yeah, they're there and they're listed in the numbers of the protons that they have and just filling in the blocks and all great. So
I'm glad I'm not in high school chemistry anymore because I remember all of that stuff. Memorize all of the elements of the periodic table. And all I could think is if I was in high school chemistry right now, what the heck? You just added 4 more? I hate you guys.
4 more. You got to do 4 more. It's like, mind blown. I had everything. And now you added 4 and I failed the test.
See, here's the thing, though, because there's going to be all these students who have heard about this, right? Because, students are smart asses. So they're going to go and it's going to be like, it'll be a basic. It'll be like a grade 7 thing. Name so many elements on the periodic table and everybody's going to be like, hey, write that down. It's not on your answer key, but it's right. That's going to happen.
since there are no official names, you could put any name to it and just put the proton numbers down. Well, 113, 115, 117, and 118. You're all good from there. So yeah, it's the seventh row of the periodic table. It's all filled out, and they're classified as super heavy elements. I'm not going to go through all this right now. If you're interested, go look it up, go read about it. If you haven't heard about it already, but it is exciting news in the world of science.
One of those elements is podcastium, right?
Oh, sweet snippity snap.
I stole that from the chat room. Anyone watching live can see that. So kudos to H for bringing that one up.
I like that. That's great. H, you are a winner in tonight's chat room.
And what do you win?
There, you got the bell.
You win
got the bell.
a tuna.
I like tuna.
So, SP, how is this going to radically change your life? Because I know that you rely on elements every day.
I think everybody relies on elements every day. So yeah, it's going to change everybody's life because everybody's going to get heavier. Oh, wait.
No.
No, that's not good.
Hey-oh. Especially in America.
Oh,
Yeah.
JS. Oh, man. I can't believe you went there.
So the countries that have discovered it, Japan, Russia, United States. So
Is
You know,
it discovered or
everybody's getting it.
confirmed?
they will be going through full reviews, but it's pretty much initially confirmed at this point in time.
Yeah, discovery by Russia, America. Yeah,
Cool.
I thought it was just confirmed.
Well, this won't affect me at all because, quite frankly, I don't believe in science. So there you go. Science doesn't
Bill Nye
exist.
is going to come get you right now. He's boarding a plane to Canada, and Bill Nye is going to whoop you.
Science is just made up. It's like the world being round. Not true. Not true. We used the analogy
yes,
before.
that is correct. The world is not round.
Oh, shut
It's
up.
pear-shaped.
Shut up. I knew you were going to go there.
Actually, it changes shape.
It does, but it's largely
does.
pear-shaped. And we discovered
Fair
this
enough.
by orbital permutations. That's how we discovered it.
No,
So-
those are just lies from the NASA. Lies.
JS,
we
come
are
on,
talk-
we made this agreement. We don't talk about NASA on the podcast.
It's like vaccines. They have no proof that it works. Just nobody has had polio for 200 years.
Well, speaking of polio, you know where polio doesn't exist? In the Star Wars universe. Don't you agree?
You mean in
You
a
don't know
galaxy
that
far,
about
far
that.
away?
don't know
Polio
about
could
that.
exist there.
I don't think
could.
so. I
It
don't
could.
believe that it does. But Chris, what do you have for your news this week?
So it should surprise no one. Star Wars continues to make all of the money this New Year's weekend. It made another $88.3 million in North America, bringing that to a haul of $740.3 million. And it's guaranteed basically to beat Avatar's record of $760.8 million. Holy
Is
crap.
this-
That's all there
Is
really is
that
to it.
worldwide or US only?
That's US only.
Worldwide, it's over 1.5 billion, right?
Yes, and it has not opened in China yet. That's this week or next week. I can't remember.
Well, that market's going to be destroyed.
It has a total of $770.5 million. It passed Avengers Age of Ultron's worldwide sum yesterday. Yeah, it's basically crushing all of the records out there. So as if we're not shocked, Star Wars is making Disney a lot of money. Between this and the next one, by the next one, I mean the spinoff, they'll probably make back all the money they gave to George Lucas.
And people thought that they had overpaid. I'm very confused
Yeah.
at how people thought that. Very confused.
It's quite simple. People are stupid. I think you told me that once.
Yeah, I'll concur to that.
Well, this seems like a perfect jumping point towards discussion on a subject that we have not had a chance to talk about yet because we wrapped up the podcast previewing. That's right. We filmed that episode 126 in advance. But
On actual film too. It
Yeah,
was
I know.
70 millimeter.
Yes,
Yes,
70
it's
millimeters,
true.
and it was developed
it
by
was.
Polaroid.
It was developed. So,
Developed.
Chris, let's talk a little bit about Star Wars, and let's start off with your opinion, because I know that you've gone 4 times already. So go ahead and start us off.
Holy moly!
No.
4
I've only
times?
gone twice, guys. I've only gone twice, and I'm going to avoid mentioning any spoilers because I see in the chat room that H hasn't seen it yet. So I will endeavor not to spoil, but I will strongly encourage you to go see it.
Technically, you have seen it. Well, that's just what I know. It's my 2 cents.
Okay, so here's the thing: is this is actually, I'm sorry, H, but this is a slightly, we'll tread lightly. We're not going to totally filter our points here because it is something that it's been several weeks and we were planning, and to the rest of the audience, I should say, we are planning on touching a little bit on some of our, shall we say, points about the movie. For me personally, what JS just said is it is essentially overall a same plot as A New Hope.
Yeah, pretty much. It's A New Hope. It's, you know what it is? It's a remake of A New Hope.
It's a way to spin off to start the new universe back. Well, not the universe, but the Disney universe up, basically. And all episode 7 did was set up episode 8. And it was a good movie to set it up. I enjoyed it a lot. Now, I have told people I am not ranking it yet because it's still too fresh in my mind. So I don't want to rank Star Wars until I've had a little bit of time to sit and digest on it. I don't want to be one of those people that watch it now and be like, oh my God, it's a perfect 10. And I'm like, no, it's not. Sit and think about it for a while. You'll know it's not a 10. It's a fun movie. It's a good movie, but it is not a perfect movie.
It's entertaining. Yeah. Very entertaining. I'll give it to that. I'll give you that. My second time I watched it or went through it or whatever way of saying it, I didn't enjoy it that much.
So I've only seen it once, but that was something that I was so mixed on that plot thing. It weighed on me for days. It really did. Like I originally thought, I think I'll get over this, but I didn't. And it still bugs me to this day that is the case. Now, maybe the second time that I watch it, I probably won't see it in the theaters again, but maybe it won't bug me as much. But that was my biggest gripe on it. There were a couple of other things here and there that I wasn't that keen on. But overall, even with that big plot change or similarity, I still overall said that I enjoyed the movie. Is it going to be the number 1 of my movie of the year? I don't know. Maybe. I don't see a lot of movies, but that would be the only reason why it would be.
You would know already. 2015 is over with. Was it your favorite movie or not?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd have to honestly, I would have to see it a second time to really make that decision.
You catch some really, really cool stuff the second time you watch it. A lot of cool stuff. And if you watch it a second time, you can see a lot of subtleties and you understand a lot of things. I don't want to ruin too many things, but for example, at one point she says that she has dreams of a watery planet with a small island on it. Mm-hmm. Like I did not catch that the first time, obviously, because I guess I was too excited. So somebody who's a fan is going to want to watch it twice just to try to catch more stuff. You're also going to want, I was going to say, you're going to want to read a lot of the comic books. There's a lot of tie-ins that explains a lot of stuff if you read the comic books.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything JS said there. The first time I watched the movie, I was just super excited and super amped, and I really enjoyed myself, but I knew there was stuff I missed, and I read some articles online that mentioned some things, and the second time I went in, I was like, oh, wow, I did miss a whole bunch of stuff, like Rey's vision. There's so much stuff that happens in like a 20 to 30 second span. Like I haven't even caught it all yet. Luckily, people broke it down online.
Yeah, a lot of people. I didn't catch the voice. You hear somebody's voice at the start of the vision, and at first I didn't realize who it was, and I did after. So
there's 3 voices in there that I didn't catch the first time. I caught one of the 3, and I'm just going to say it in here. So anyone who has not seen it yet, sorry, put your headphones on mute. But you get Frank Oz's Yoda in there. You get Allie Guinness saying the name Rey, which they took as a line from A New Hope where he says, "Don't be afraid." They took the Rey out of that. And then Ewan McGregor came in and recorded new lines where he says, "These are your first steps," as the vision closes. So really cool touches to add in things like that. And it's fueled a lot of fan theories as to who Rey might actually be related to. They want you to think it's Luke Skywalker in the movie, but I am now of the opinion that she's a descendant of Kenobi.
I can see that. I can see that. And I think especially the other theory that's going out there is Jar Jar's daughter. Jar Jar's daughter was one that I can get behind.
there's us, Disney is a huge supporter of not the same people always. Well, how do we explain it? Disney doesn't like lineage. Like, they don't like how a whole family could influence a whole universe. So they're probably not going to make her a Skywalker just because of that. That's my theory.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, you have to think the Star Wars movies have always been about the Skywalker family screwing stuff up, basically.
Yeah, but it's as being driven by Disney. Let's be honest, it's Disney that's behind this movie. Disney is driving that movie, or at least the core story. It's not. I don't think they're gonna want. How can I say it? I don't think they're gonna want. It's going to be what, almost the 5 generations of Skywalkers. That's nuts. And the whole galaxy is completely driven by these 3 to 4 characters. I don't know.
It falls with what George Lucas created.
Yeah, but George Lucas.
I don't think she's a Skywalker. I think they want you to think that she is too hard for that to be the case. And I like the twist of she's a descendant of Kenobi. I think that would be cool because remember, the Clone Wars cartoon is canon. And there's going to be stuff that happens between episode 3 and 4 that I'm sure they'll touch on at some point, be it in comic book form or maybe as one of their anthology movies.
Can I just say that the clone of Skywalker's hand but genetically changed to a female is ridiculous? And if they do that, I will be like, Disney, you did such a bad job taking this franchise.
That's never.
Did you hear the other crazy rumor that's floating around is that she's a reincarnated Anakin Skywalker? I was like, no.
Funny that you say that. If you look at her picture, if you look at her face from time to time, you will see Anakin Skywalker as a kid.
I see more of Natalie Portman in her face than I do of Anakin Skywalker.
A lot, but if you looked, I dare you next time, pause or whatever. You can't really pause, but just take the time and look at her face construction, and you'll see. She really looks like Anakin from the first movie. She really, really does from time to time. And that's why a lot of people are fueled that she might be the daughter of a descendant of Vader. Like Vader might have just, made other babies.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting.
Yeah. And I so hope that Snook is a clone of the Emperor or the Emperor himself.
The current rumor is Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, and I think it's true because Disney put a cease and desist on someone who had originally posted that. And had
although Andy Serkis did an interview and he said Snoke is not Plagueis in this interview he just did. So it could be him just towing the company line and lying. Who knows? There's so many different things in this movie that I have no clue on. What's also really cool, if you get a chance, is the script is officially out there because they had to provide a copy of the script for different awards considerations and things like that. And they specifically touch on some stuff when she meets up at the end with Luke, where Luke knows who she is. It basically says in the script. They don't say that who she is, but basically Luke looks at her and knows who she is.
Well, he recognizes her. You can see it in his face.
And for people that are also dissecting the novelization that came out, just a heads up, it's based off of like a 2 or 3 versions old version of the script that came out too. So it is not necessarily fully in line with the movie. There's stuff to be gleaned from it, but it's not necessarily the gospel.
So I'm not going to spoil anything here, but if you want to see the stuff that I had wrong with the movie, and granted, I liked the movie. It was entertaining. I've seen it twice. I want to go see it a third time. Although I'm weighing that versus waiting till April because the Blu-ray is going to be out on April 5th at this point in time. But if you want to go to the Gonna Geek website, you will see an article. It is spoiler filled. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't read it. But everything that I have, which is wrong, or I had issues with the movie, is on that article. So you can go check that out and comment on it or whatever.
So I just want to take a moment here and say, as much as I did have a bit of issue with it, I still did come back and end up watching over my break here all 3 of the original movies. So I still like Star Wars, and I just want to also make a little point here. This is the DVD version that I do own, And FYI, JS, on disc 2, it does say original theatrical version of Star Wars, and that is what's on it. The sound is horrible.
Just Empire Strikes Back, right?
No, all 3.
All 3. Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So we have the answer finally, all 3 of them on disc 2. It doesn't even market it as the original theatrical. They call it the bonus disc with a little bullet point that says original theatrical. Like this one says 1977.
That's awesome.
The other one says 1980, right? Like so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was available.
This version does have the original release.
I just want to say one thing that's really, really funny. If this wasn't a Star Wars movie, I don't think we would care as much about it. That's the only thing I want to point out. That's how I feel about this movie.
That is.
If this wasn't a Star Wars movie and it was just a sci-fi movie, we would have said, yeah, it's a good movie. That's it. Let's move on. But because it's Star Wars and we're so entrenched into the mythos and it's such something we love so much, I think we're giving it, again, it's not a bad movie, but I don't think it's that great of a movie.
Here's one thing that I do want to say about it, though. I think that they've done a very good job rewatching the trilogy. As much as it was not meant to do that, the Star Wars or A New Hope did a good job of setting up some things that would come later. And I think that they obviously knew where they were going now. So I think that The Force Awakens has done a good job of setting up things that we'll probably see payoffs later.
Did you see the first phrase of the movie from The Force Awakens?
Yep.
It's pretty funny.
You're talking about the scroll or the first words?
The first sentence of the movie. Words. Yeah. The first sentence of the movie.
The first sentence in the scroll says something different. I just didn't know which one you were talking about. First sentence in the scroll says, and this is not a spoiler since it's the first sentence, is Luke Skywalker has vanished. But you're talking about something different.
I'm talking about the first spoken words of the movie. Next, on your next watch, you listen to that sentence. You'll have a good laugh.
It's been widely reported on the internet too. If you're in the circles that are talking about Star Wars openly, we won't spoil it here because it's kind of
But you'll have a good laugh.
Yeah. Yep. So I was at work today. A couple of my coworkers who are not sci-fi fans, not really fantasy fans or movie fans in general, more of sports aficionados. Anyway, they went to go see the movie. They were part of the $1.5 billion or whatever the movie's made at this point in time. And they said, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't all that. And that seemed to be the general consensus around the office today among non-geeks. So a lot of people went to go see it, a lot of hype. And they said that they were glad that they saw it, that they had waited 32 years to see the story continued. So, there's bonuses and detriments to the movie. I was entertained by it. I love the fact that I saw the continuation of the story after 32 years. Something that I remember from a childhood is that Lucas said, I've made 3 trilogies. There's been debate on whether or not this was true or not, but I always remembered that, whether it was true or not, and I always wanted to see the next trilogy. So I'm glad that we're actually getting it.
So what you're saying is they said that it's not all that in a bag of potato chips.
And French onion dip as well.
Okay.
Ew.
Anybody got any final thoughts or things that you want to say about the movie before we do move into our final segment of the night?
Yes. One last thing. If you haven't seen it in a theater, you will regret not seeing it in the theater. So go out. If you haven't seen it opening night, whatever, it doesn't matter. Go out. See it, experience it on the big screen. You don't have to see it in 3D. There's one scene in 3D that's worth it. But other than that, go see it on the big screen. Otherwise, you will regret not seeing it on the big screen.
I could agree with that. I could agree.
Yeah, I'll
with
agree to that. There's no point in seeing it in 3D. I agree to that as well.
There's no point in seeing anything in 3D anymore. They don't do it with 3D cameras. It's all post-production 3D work.
No. I love seeing you in 3D, Chris.
Oh, snip, snap.
Whoa! All right, well, let's just go ahead and move on to our last segment, which is the highlight of the website.
Here at the Gonna Geek podcast, we've learned that it's important to recognize our shortcomings. Yes, that means we understand that right about now you're still itching for more geeky content, but you also can't tolerate to hear much more of us. Good news on both fronts, the podcast is almost over, and we want to send you some recommended geeky reading. Here is the highlight from the website.
This week in our highlight of the website comes from, well, let's go ahead and throw it over to someone who can tell you all about it in depth. Chris, what's from the highlight? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, SB.
Oh, well, hey, if you're into podcasting or into some sort of studio editing or need reference headphones, I've actually done a lot of research in the past year and a half or so because, well, about the last year, because I was using some sub-grade headphones. I was like, there's got to be better headphones for this. And I could never go to one place and get all the information. So what I've done is I've summarized my research, put it all into an article, threw it up there. So go to the GonnaGeek.com website. You will see podcasting studio monitoring headphone recommendations, and you will see my top 6 recommendations in priority order. And if you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up. But the headphones that are on there fit every budget. And at the higher up you go on the list, the better the headphones actually are for that sort of thing. Now, if you're into like listening to music or you really like the bass sound or DJ sound or whatever, pick number 3 is probably the one for you. But if you're looking just for editing purposes or listening on the podcast or whatever, as you're recording the podcast, all the other options are great too.
Absolutely. I thought this was a great article. You know me, I love comparing gear, and I really enjoyed your gear comparison on these headphones. And honestly, there are some things in there that might make you pick one pair of headphones over another just based off of what SP says. Some really valuable feedback in there. And if you are in the market for headphones, absolutely, please go check out that article because he does a very good job of explaining why he has recommendations, what his reasons are for those recommendations, and those reasons might just be different than your priorities. So really great information.
Thanks.
But I suppose that is going to take us towards the end of episode 127 of the GonnaGeek.com podcast. Before we do that, I just want to go ahead and remind everybody that we are part of the network, and you can definitely find a variety of geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. They are all firing back up post Christmas/holiday vacation break. So you're going to see the network more active again. And soon enough, you will see the brand new version of Unqualified Gamers, which is called Game Life Balance US. So please keep your eyes on the prize at GonnaGeek.com. I say that too much. I say eyes on the prize, don't I?
Eyes on the prize, baby.
Say that.
Compare your tech. Take it out of your pants and compare your tech.
So for episode 127 of the GonnaGeek.com podcast, I'm Stephen John Drew.
And I'm your high school chemistry teacher.
I have nothing witty to say.
And I'm definitely the high school gym teacher.
Oh, I got nothing even for that. Bye!
From everyone here at the GonnaGeek.com podcast, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We encourage you to send your feedback by email to podcast@GonnaGeek.com. You can find all of our show history at GonnaGeek.com/official podcast. And while you're there, why not head over and check out all of the geeky podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network? The music heard on this show is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next week.